Happy holidays, Cougs. Welcome back to Coug on the Clock. I'm your interim host, Matti Tenney, here with
Luke Westfall.
Yes, sir. Today we're going to be talking about Cougs men's basketball, Cougs women's basketball, the MLB offseason and free agency, and NFL football. Let's get right into the news.
All right, so we're diving right into Cougar men's basketball. They played yesterday. It was a bounce-back game for the Cougs. They defeat the Northern Kentucky Norse, which I believe is a type of Viking.
It's like the Vikings, yeah.
Yeah, Vikings.
Yeah.
Anyways, they defeat them 68-47 behind strong performances from T.J. Bamba, who had 22 points on 8 of 12 shooting. Muhammad Gay had 14 points and 10 rebounds. Justin Powell had 11 points. There were some highlights in that game. Got the pleasure of calling, which was fun because there were some sweet blocks in that game from Gay, Bamba, and Rodman. Some great plays all around. But obviously a big game to bounce back and get to 4-4.
Oh, yeah.
And they're playing undefeated UNLV and then 12th-ranked Baylor next. So what are your thoughts on Cougar basketball?
I'm biased. Obviously, we don't have the same team we had last year, which is kind of sucky. I really liked last year's team. I feel like we could have been a solid tournament team if we had made it. We went pretty far in the NIT, which was cool. But this year, I'm really liking our transfers. Jabe Mullins, I know he's not playing right now. He's injured. He should be back in about a week. He was playing lights out, so when we get him back, that'll be great. Andrei Yagamowski should be back later this month, which will also be a huge addition back. As far as Muhammad Gay, DJ Rodman, TJ Bamba, they're all playing great. I know you've seen a lot more games than I've been able to. What has been the Achilles heel for this Cougar men's basketball team?
Yeah, the Achilles heel for this men's team, especially the last few games, is that without Jabe, who's shooting 56% from three, they can't hit a three to save their life right now. Unfortunately, the last couple of games against Utah, they went 4 of 30 from deep. And then in this last game, they were shooting over 55% from deep in the first half and then 20% in the second half. So obviously missing Jabe is a big part of that. They're missing a lot of guys from last year, a lot of transfers like Tyrell Roberts, Michael Flowers, obviously Noah Williams too.
Even losing Efe Abogidi.
Even losing Efe Abogidi. So a lot of big losses there, but like you said, Mullins will come back, and also Yakomowski. Unfortunately, these two tough games coming up. But I do like the rise of a couple of these freshmen. I was asking in the press conference DJ Rodman about the freshmen, and he was pointing out how much growth he's seen from Mael Hamon Crespin, who's hit a couple of threes in each of the last couple of games. He's played a lot better, a lot of hustle plays. Forced a jump ball yesterday, hit the deck. He drew a charge yesterday. So he's been making some plays, as well as Kamani Huinsu, who's been playing a lot more minutes too. So it's good to see the growth out of them because we're going to need it right now. But obviously, ultimately, we would like to play our main guys and not those freshmen as much.
Well, Mael has international experience. He played for the French men's team, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, was that silver medal, I believe? I don't remember, but
it's not
I know
fresh on the brain.
He has international experience. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes from him. I'm really excited to see what's coming from Adrame Jonge.
Yeah, he's been sick. Coach Smith said he wasn't practicing the last week, so he should be back for the next game against UNLV.
Alrighty, well, on to Cougar women's basketball. They played the University of Portland last night. Or I don't know exactly when this is coming out, but they recently played the University of Portland.
Wednesday night, University of Portland.
Yeah, so at the end of the first quarter, they were down 19, was it?
Yes. They started off down 19, and they were outscored 19-6 in the first quarter. And then in the next 3 quarters, they outscored Portland 63-44, completing the largest comeback in WSU women's basketball history, which is a 19-point deficit. And they are now 7-1. And
not ranked?
Not ranked. Surprisingly, the AP poll doesn't come out every day, unfortunately. But hopefully, when it comes out, they will be ranked. But their next game, though, is against UW, and then if they can win that game, UW's 7-1, but they haven't played anybody. But if they can win that game, Jackson State, TAMU, Corpus Christi, if you've ever heard of them, and 2-7 Houston. So a chance to get to 11-1 before we play our first ranked opponent.
Which is fantastic. We need to talk about how incredibly Charlize Ledger-Walker has been playing.
Yeah. She's so fantastic. I mean, even the game Against South Dakota State, she struggled. She had some turnovers, which were uncharacteristic for her, but still played well. Obviously played great against Montana. In this game, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. She really does everything. She's all over the court. She plays a ton of minutes.
Yeah.
And while there are some nice contributors on this team outside of her, of course, I mean, she just does it all. I mean, 9 rebounds from your leading scorer, who would usually think would hover around the three-point line or cherry pick back on defense,
Right.
but instead she's in there grabbing every board.
Exactly.
I mean, it's fantastic what you see from her. But yeah, I mean, the Apple Cup though is in Washington, and Washington's 7-1. So
I mean,
yes, big
yeah.
time, big time. I mean,
there was a big
it's a shame.
buzzer beater from Ula Matuga.
Yes,
that was
she had
nice.
a half-court buzzer beater from
Ula
Ula
Matuga.
I mean, she's known for hitting threes from the top of the key,
yeah.
but she's not known for hitting half-quarters. So that was pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, facing UW, it's a shame. It's Sunday at 2 p.m., but it's a shame that it is not, from my knowledge to this point, on any major networks. But got to try and find a way. It's got to be televised somewhere, so I'll try and find it.
Or radio.
Or radio. You know, any way you can, but that's a big game. I mean, every Apple Cup game is big, but
Right.
This is believed to be, and stats would show that this is one of our strongest sports here at WSU. So this is a sport that you would love to take every Apple Cup game you can get.
Yes, this team definitely, I can say, I believe that they are tournament bound.
Yeah, I think
And this would be the 3rd year in a row.
Some big ranked wins in the conference and maybe move up would be big.
Yeah.
You know, pass up some ranked teams would be nice for the team. But I think we're going to be in the tournament.
I believe
we
so,
just
too.
win too many out-of-conference games to not make the tournament.
Right.
So it just makes sense. All right, so we got our next topic here. We're going to move right into some NFL news recaps and previews.
Yeah.
Me and Matti's teams, both with wins this last weekend. The Seahawks beat the depleted Rams 27-23. But more importantly for my partner,
Brock Purdy season, Mr. Irrelevant. The last pick, I believe it was pick 262 in the 2022 NFL Draft from the San Francisco 49ers, the quarterback out of Iowa State, comes in during the first series where Jimmy Garoppolo goes down with what is thankfully not a broken foot, which was being reported. There's a very good chance if his rehab goes well.
Well, it's still a broken foot. He just doesn't need surgery.
I thought they said it wasn't broken.
Well, all I know is that the report said there's no surgery.
No surgery.
He'll be back in.
He could
but
be
7
back
to
in
8 weeks.
7 to 8 weeks. He could be back in time for the playoffs, which would be fantastic.
That's how long it took me to recover from a broken foot.
You don't have the jawline of Jimmy Garoppolo, though.
That's
anyway,
right.
Brock Purdy comes in. He plays incredibly. He only throws 1 interception. He has, I believe, 2 touchdown passes. The Niners' defense shows up, picking Tua Tagovailoa off on back-to-back throws. Wow. Nick Bosa has 3 sacks. He wins Defensive Player of the Week, I believe, in the NFC. He had 3 tackles, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, which Dre Greenlaw took back for a touchdown in their 33-17 win over the first place in the AFC East Dolphins.
Yep.
Is Brock Purdy legit?
Yeah, I think that Brock Purdy is perfect for that system. I mean, he's obviously been practicing in it for a long time, and he's got a great offensive line. He's got great weapons on the outside. He's got a great weapon in the backfield. He's got one of the greatest offensive head coach weapons, which is Kyle Shanahan's
100%
offense.
agree.
I mean, the best defense in the NFL. So it's exciting for them. And then next week they'll take on Brady and the Bucs. And next week the Seahawks will take on the Panthers. And I will do you all a favor and be in attendance for that game. Other games, just quickly, big games that happened last week were the Giants tying the Commanders, which is a mess. They're pretty much the same overrated team in my opinion.
I agree.
Vikings beat the Jets. Didn't prove to me a lot about the Vikings. And the Bengals beat the Chiefs, which is 3 consecutive, so they own them.
That's 3 in this year alone. In the year
3 in the year
2022.
2022 alone.
We're probably going to go into overtime on this one. I think that we should go into overtime for this topic.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. The big games, just to get them out there for next week. I mean,
Bills-Jets.
Yeah.
That's a big game.
Bills-Jets is a big game.
Jets have been playing pretty well despite subpar quarterback play. The Bills have been playing good. I mean, the Bills are the Bills.
The Bills have Josh Allen, and so you always have a chance. Von Miller just announced that he does have a torn ACL out for the year, so that's unfortunate for the Bills.
Yes.
But I mean, the Jets beat them last time, which was crazy, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with Mike White. I still would have to predict that the Bills win. I just can't predict
I
them
agree.
to win.
I agree. Giants back-to-back NFC
Giants,
East.
Eagles.
Giants, Eagles. That'll be a big game.
Big game.
As an NFC fan, I want the Eagles to lose. As a Niners fan, I want the Giants to lose. It's a win-win for me or a lose-lose for me.
As an educated football fan, I would like to say that the Eagles are going to beat them by probably around 20 points. But, as a Daniel Jones sympathizer, I would love for the Giants to win.
Right.
But as a don't care about anything else about the Giants football fan, it doesn't make a big difference to me. I'd love to see just a good football game, but I just don't think it will be. I think that the Eagles have the ability and the star power to overpower them. The Giants are just too depleted everywhere with injuries.
Yeah.
They're a nice story, but
Right. Next up, we got the Battle of Ohio, Browns versus Bengals. Do you think that Deshaun Watson can rub out a victory in Ohio?
okay. I think that Jacoby Brissett should be the starter still. I mean, I know Deshaun Watson, you paid him all that money, but he's the one that's performed well this year, and he's already blown out the Bengals once this year, and he's not played football for 2 years as well, and of course, he's probably more of a fan favorite at this point.
Speaking of getting blown out,
yeah.
Deshaun Watson, he was back last week.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson did not look good against the Texans at all, his former team. He got a lot of boos. He planted a lot of passes in the dirt. And offensively, if you take away points from defense and special teams, he actually was outscored by the Texans' offense.
Which is fantastic.
Lions-Vikings, what's your prediction?
I think that the Lions are going to win.
I think the Lions could easily win. I think the
Vikings
are probably the most overrated 10-team win in history.
I agree. Oh, what about that 11-win Steelers team?
Second most.
Yeah. I think that the Lions could I think either team could win. I don't want the Vikings to win. I think the Lions are going to win. I think that Jared Goff is going to produce. I think that Monroe St. Brown been playing good this year?
He's been awesome.
Exactly.
And this is the second week now of getting back Jamison Williams, and I think being more healthy this week, he will have an expanded role, so their offense is even more dangerous.
Last thing to talk about, Rams versus Raiders going on right now. Baker Mayfield, he was waived by the Panthers, picked up by the Rams. Everyone wanted him to go to San Francisco. I did not want him to go to San Francisco. I believe in Brock Purdy. They're playing right now. I'm not sure exactly what the score is, but I know Derek Carr was not looking good.
13-3 at half. Derek Carr doesn't look good. Baker Mayfield doesn't look good. He doesn't know the playbook yet. And the Rams are a dumpster fire.
We went way over time. On to MLB offseason, free agency, some big things that happened. We're going to speed run this because we went so long with NFL. Some notable things. Xander Bogaerts to the Padres for 11 years.
Yeah, okay, so the Padres wanted to spend as much money as possible like they do every offseason. They want to move Fernando Tatis to the outfield.
Right.
And now they have their third best defensive shortstop on their team playing shortstop. So great move by the Padres to not do the smart thing in roster building.
Right.
But maybe their offense will be more competent this year than they were last year in the regular season, which they were not. So
still going to be third place in the
still
NL West.
Not going to win the NL West, in my opinion.
It's gonna be my Giants.
The Dodgers have lost a lot, and whatever.
They have. Masataka Yoshida to the Red Sox for $90 plus $10 million, so $100 million for 5 years?
Yes, so it's a 5-year, $90 million contract, but they're going to have to cover $10 million to take him away from the KBO in Japan, which is the Japanese Professional Baseball League, and essentially making this a $100 million contract, which is now the largest contract for a Japanese player in history, passing Ichiro Suzuki. So high expectations. Obviously, Ichiro is great, and Ohtani, it took a couple years, but he's great.
How much do you think Ohtani's going to get paid?
I don't know, but
how much do you think Ohtani's going to get paid next
year?
When
he gets a contract, and we're talking, and somebody's talking about his contract next year.
Someone's signing him for a long time. If you're going to sign
it's going to be a lifetime contract, and it's going to be somewhere around $45 million a year. Because you get to pay him as the best hitter and best pitcher on the market.
Right.
Which is insane. But anyways,
Judge goes back to the Yankees. Should have gone to the Giants.
I just do want to say he got $360 million for 9 years.
Yeah.
Which makes the Yankees worse because it's the same team just with a lot more money in Aaron Judge.
Right.
And the Padres offered him $400 million, but he turned it down. So that was
how much for the Giants? I don't know.
Same thing, pretty much from the Giants.
Speaking of Giants, Mitch Haniger goes from Seattle to San Francisco.
Pains me to see him go, but I
love to see him stay.
I did not want to see the Mariners pay him $43.5 million in 3 years for a guy that in the last 2 weeks of his career with the Mariners was striking out every second at bat. It was tough.
To my delight, Cody Bellinger leaves the Dodgers to the Cubs for
yeah.
1 year, $17.5 million, and Trey Turner leaves to the Phillies, 11 years, $300 million. The Phillies really trying to buff that lineup after losing the World Series.
Yep.
Justin Verlander goes to the Mets to team up with Max Scherzer. Jacob deGrom leaves the Mets to go to the Rangers. And
Wilson Contreras goes to the Cardinals. So the Cubs get worse, essentially, by signing
Cody Bellinger for 1
Cody
year.
Bellinger, but then losing their best player for nothing. And the Cardinals, man, they're way better because now it's not they're not obligated to have a 40-year-old catcher in there every game. They actually have a real offensive contributor. Trey Turner makes the Phillies a World Series contender for now, but it was too long of a contract in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially when speed is one of his best tools and he won't have that at 40 as much.
Fun fact, I grew up in Eugene, Oregon, home of the Oregon Ducks, but also home of the Eugene Emeralds, the high A affiliate for then the Phillies, the Giants, the Padres. Trey Turner played in Eugene. I got to watch him play in minor league baseball. That was really cool.
That is
just
amazing.
a fun fact.
That is amazing.
That was just a
and
fun
then
fact.
just my one quick thought on these two aces. I think the Rangers, maybe they get better for the first 2 weeks before DeGrom gets injured for the season. And the Mets are a better team with Justin Verlander than they were with DeGrom because he's actually going to pitch all year, and DeGrom would not pitch all year. So that's my thoughts on that.
Alrighty, well, that will wrap up this episode. Might be the last for the semester, I'm not sure. That wraps up Coug on the Clock for Matti Tenney and Luke Westfall. Go Cougs.